Questions? Yes, Bolton.
Do you agree with some of your Democrat colleagues who say that President Biden's pardon of Hunter Biden was wrong or unwise and puts personal interest ahead of duty?
I got nothing for you on that.
Can I follow up on that? Are you concerned with the lack of transparency and lack of honesty around Biden's decision to pardon?
As I said, I got nothing for you on that. Nope. Gonna say,
that pardoning anyone on the way out of office, family members, sets a poor precedent.
thank you. I've got nothing for you on that.
But the question is, they talked about January 6th pardons. This is a playbook for incoming President Trump. Isn't this a problem? Did he not establish a bad precedent for pardons?
I got nothing for you on that. Any other subjects?
MSNBC and far left commentator Molly Jong Fast, who was left speechless by news of Hunter Biden's pardon.
Hunter lied on a mandatory gun purchase form by saying he was not illegally using or addicted to drugs. According to NBC News, the president made the decision this weekend. Molly, fast and furious, what do you make of this new news?
I just heard it. I have to process it. I don't have a take. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I don't want to have a take, lady. That's your job. You've got one job there, and it's to have a take. Watch now as CNN subjects Democrat Dan Goldman to a humiliation ritual of sorts. This is a thing of beauty. They literally play him footage of himself on ABC lying his lefty butt off about how Joe Biden was never going to pardon his son Hunter. I gotta say, I love CNN for this.
This is what you said. I want to watch.
Do you think a pardon for his son would be a mistake?
Yes, and I don't think there's any chance that President Biden is going to do that, unlike his predecessor, who pardoned all of his friends.
What does that feel like, watching yourself back then, reassuring people that Biden was not going to issue a pardon for his son?
Yeah, and I think that if that plea agreement and that plea deal had gone through, there would be no pardon. That was a satisfactory outcome.
It had already fallen
that
through.
Only was. Sorry?
When you reacted, this was when the deal had fallen through.
Now, we were told again and again, not just by the Biden White House, but also its propaganda arm, the overwhelming majority of the US media, that Joe Biden would never pardon his crack-addled whore enthusiast son. He has too much integrity to do that. He has too much respect for the legal process.
Major commitment from the president, accepting the outcome of the trial and also pledging not to pardon his son.
Presidential promise to put the law before a family.
I said I abide by the jury decision. I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
Letting the world know that he will not wipe away the decision of 12 of his son's peers.
One side, Democrats and Joe Biden protecting the justice system. And on the other, Republicans and Trump protecting Trump.
Our current president of the United States has so much respect for the law that he has said he would not pardon his son. I mean, what... Yeah. You know, again, it's all about the contrast.
Joining me now is Newsweek Senior Editor-at-Large and Article 3 Project Senior Counsel, Josh Hammer. Josh, Joe Biden has not only pardoned his son, this is the most comprehensive, far-reaching pardon I think we've seen. Joe Biden signed a full and unconditional pardon for Hunter, covering all offences against the United States which he has committed or may have committed or taken part in during the period from January 1, 2014 through to December 1, 2024, including but not limited to all offences charged or prosecuted. The scope of this pardon is enormous, Josh.
Rita, the scope is so enormous and indeed is so unprecedented, truly unprecedented. I've actually spent a lot of time trying to think over these past 36 hours or so as to whether or not there is anything remotely resembling a clear precedent for a pardon this sweeping. And honestly, I come up blank. I mean, this is the kind of language that you put into a pardon that I think back to my time in law school here in the United States. I mean, if I were a constitutional law professor, I would literally put a pardon like this on a first-year law student exam to try to question the students as to whether something like this is even permissible, as to whether it's even constitutional in the first place. The short answer is that it is, unfortunately, because the pardon power is truly plenary. But the point is that there's no precedent for this. I mean, this has not happened to my knowledge any time in recent history or in history at all, let alone to actually do so to one's son, to one's literal next of kin. I mean, I'm somewhat flabbergasted, Reed. I really don't necessarily have words for this. And the fact that you're tying it back to January of 2014 in particular, well, you know, what happened in the year 2014? Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, Hunter Biden started sitting on the board of Burisma in the spring of 2014, just a few years after January 2014, no doubt, Rita, for his subject matter expertise on Eastern European Baltic Sea oil and natural gas energy exports. I jest, of course. He has no expertise in this whatsoever. But I mean, you know, Joe Biden says that this was an example of a politicized prosecution. I actually agree with him, but for the exact opposite reason. The special counsel, David Weiss, deliberately slow-walked this case. He did not look into FARA, the Foreign Agents Registration Act. He deliberately let the 5-year statute of limitations toll on that particular statute there. And by the way, he tried to submit a plea deal in the summer of 2023 that was such a sweetheart deal that the federal judge, Mary Ellen Noriega, rejected as just being too favorable to the criminal defendant. As a former federal law clerk, I can tell you, not something that happens every day in court. This whole thing just stinks from top to bottom. The fish rots from the head. The silver lining, here's the silver lining. I'll end on a positive note. The silver lining here is that when Donald Trump comes into power in January 2025, any morsel of credibility that the left had when they complained about Donald Trump's purported abuses of the justice system, it's over. They have no credibility whatsoever. You and I both know they had no credibility with the Jack Smith lawfare to begin with here, but this is the final nail in the coffin. This is really it at this point. They have revealed themselves for the tyrants that they are.